Hi everyone, good morning. So glad you're here. If you're catching me on the replay, thank you for taking the time to watch. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Jen Zills. I am a wife, a mom of three, a certified health coach, and the founder of Kids Eat Vegetables, where I help busy moms on their journey to raising healthy kids. And today I am talking to you about tantrums at the table. Hey Jess, thanks for joining. So tantrums at the dinner table. Maybe you have a toddler who's throwing tantrums at the table. Maybe you have an older child who's constantly complaining. That's the discussion for today. So if you have friends who you know are struggling with this or have little ones who are disrupting the dinner table, be sure to share this broadcast with your fellow moms. And I was actually having this conversation with a mom this weekend, and she's like having some issues with her 4-year-old, and she's like, Jen, how do you deal with this? How do you tolerate the tantrums at the dinner table? And I kind of had to share with her our family rule, and that is you sit at the table nicely. Everyone is welcome at our table. You are welcome to join us for dinner, but you're going to sit nicely. And if you're unable to sit nicely, then you're going to have to sit in your room. And she was a little taken aback. She's like, that's really harsh. That's like it's not harsh, it's a choice. It's not a punishment, it's a choice. You can sit nicely at our table and you can enjoy time with the family, or you can sit up in your room until dinner's over. That is their choice. It is their free will. They can decide whatever they want to do. So like I said, she was a little bit taken aback because she's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to send my 4-year-old to her room for dinner. And I'm like, yeah, a few times you might have to do that. But I guarantee that she's going to turn it around, right? She's not going to come to the table like she owns it, screaming, yelling, throwing tantrums about what's happening at the dinner table. Everyone is welcome. Everyone can join. As many nights as possible, we try to have family dinner. That is definitely tough as your kids get older. My husband travels a lot, so we can't have family dinner every night, but we do try as often as possible to have dinner at a time where the most of us are available. My son right now is in football 3 nights a week until 7:30, so we can't wait that long to eat. So a lot of times he's missing out right now, but the nights he is home, make sure we're scheduling dinner at a time that everyone can join us. And everyone's gonna sit at the table nicely. And if you have multiple kids, or even if it's just you and your husband, I want you to think of it from the perspective of the other people at the table, right? So we have this one child who's constantly complaining or throwing tantrums, and they're taking all of that precious family time and kind of making it about themselves, right? And then mom and dad are struggling to decide how to handle the tantrum. The tantrum just can't happen. You have to have boundaries at your table. You have to have boundaries with your kids. And it's not fair to the other people at the table, right? Your other kids who are sitting nicely at the table, who are trying to enjoy the meal, who want to share about their day, right? Or to you and your husband who want to catch up on the day, or you just want to spend time together. You know, family meal doesn't take long, you know, but if you're dealing half of the time dealing with one child who's screaming and yelling or throwing a tantrum or complaining, that's ruining it for everybody. So try to think of the other people at the table and say, listen, this just is not acceptable. We're not going to come and complain. We're not going to come and throw a tantrum. We're going to sit down and eat, and we're going to have a nice time together as a family. Because as busy as we are nowadays, it's tough. It's tough to get that 20 minutes at the end of the day to say, hey, let's sit down together. So that is our very simple family rule. You are welcome at the table. It is a joyful table. We really want to spend time together as a family, but if you can't do that quietly and nicely, then you're going to have to go elsewhere, and for us, it's up to your room. You're going to sit at your room for 20 to 30 minutes, and you better bet you're coming back down to help with the dishes, you're helping them clean up. Like, you didn't get out of the family part of it or the chore part of it. And I'll be honest, for our kids, if we were going through a phase or something that, you know, hey, 3 or 4 times of this, and they know you're serious, they turn it around. They turn it around pretty quick, right? For anywhere from age 4 and up, they're going to turn it around pretty quick. But there are still times where we have grumpy preteen at the table who is like mad about something for the day and just can't seem to find nice words. He might end up away from the dinner table, right? I mean, we still implement this, or we still apply this boundary or apply this rule, even when they're older, right? I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I'm sorry that things aren't working out. We would love to talk about it at the dinner table, but you're not going to bring your mad self to the dinner table. Just not acceptable. Like I said, so this mom I was talking to this weekend, I could tell she was like, that feels really hard, or that feels really like a punishment. And I just had to reassure her that it's only going to take a couple times. And then they're going to understand the boundary. They're going to understand the respect at the dinner table. And again, like I said, I want you to think about this from the perspective of the other people at the table. And the other people at the table aren't always just going to be your family, right? So your friends come to visit, your family comes to visit. If this is a habit in your family, you're not going to mind having friends over. You're not going to mind having family over because your kids know how to sit nicely at the table. You're going to be confident about sending your little one off to a play date at someone else's house because they're going to have table manners because they're sitting nicely at your table. Bad habits are tough to break, and sometimes it feels harsh to implement some boundaries in the family, but they are so important. And I really want you to think about the bigger picture. This is a life skill. You're going to come to the table, you're going to have nice conversation, you're going to take your bad mood and leave it to the side for now, or we could talk about it nicely. But think of it as a life skill, and think about, you don't want the stress. Mom, it's not fair to you. You've worked hard all day. You've gotten food on the table. You deserve respect for that. And so does your husband, who's providing as well. So think about that. Think about, all the life skills that are taught at the dinner table when you are sitting nicely and making conversation, taking turns, listening to each other, passing the food. So many basic life skills can happen at your dinner table. It's not fair for one of your little ones to kind of take over and make it about them. Little sub rules at our dinner table: no toys and no screen. That's always been a rule ever since they were wee little. So no toys at the table, no screens at the table. That includes mommy and daddy. And believe me, my kids are very quick to call out mom and dad if we pull out the phone for any reason. So little sub rules are no toys, no screen, and everyone sits in their own seat. I know so many moms are dealing with toddlers and even a little bit older preschoolers who want to sit on a lap. That is a tough habit to break. I definitely understand. We've been through that with one of our children as well. But again, you need to talk to them about, everyone sits in their own seat. In our family, my girls, they used to argue about who sat by mommy. And like every day, we were so sick of this conversation. We're like, forget it. Okay, stop with who sits by mommy, right? Mommy can barely get to the table half the time before everyone's done after serving and getting everything ready. Like, I don't want to deal with this every night about who sits by mommy. So now our girls have an even and odd day. One's even, one's odd. And yes, the older one has figured out that the younger one is odd. So on the 31st and the 1st, she gets to sit by mommy twice. It doesn't happen that often. It actually will happen here in October. But that's okay. We work around that one little kink. But again, kind of setting those boundaries and saying, okay, girls, we can't fight every night about this. We have to find a solution. Here's the solution. One's even, one's odd. That's it. We're good. We're enjoying family dinner. So if this is something you're struggling with, let me know. Leave a comment. What have you tried? What's working? What's not working? How do you feel about this rule? How do you feel about... I know. The word banished comes to mind. You're like, I'm banishing my child from the table. And that sounds really bad, but it really is. It won't take long. I promise. It's not as bad. And the choice is theirs. Again, this is not a punishment. This is a choice. Honey, you can choose where to sit for dinner. You're not banishing anyone. You're calm. You're cool. You're like, I got this. I'm a mom. I got this. This is my responsibility to teach these children table manners. And they're going to learn. And if not, they can go, chill out. And there's definitely times where my kids will go to the room and they'll come back and go, I'm ready to join you. That's fine. You can join us whenever you want. You're not banished for the whole night. You're banished until your attitude changes or your tantrum's done. Then you're welcome to come back. We would love to have you at our dinner table. So that is my little rant for today. Again, let me know in the comments of how if you had this issue, if you're dealing with this at home, how you're handling it. And if you ever want to chat a little bit longer or have a little longer conversation about this, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to chat with you a little more about this and help you to have a happy dinner table, a joyful dinner table, no matter what's being served. We'll talk about that another day. But just coming and sitting at the table, step one. So Jess, I hope you're well. I hope you're really well. We haven't chatted for a while, so I'm so glad you joined me. And I hope you and your family are doing well. If you're catching me on the replay, thank you so much. And again, remember, kidsyvegetables.com/tips. Again, that's kidsyvegetables.com/tips. you can sign up for the weekly newsletter with recipes and coloring pages and all kind of great stuff every Saturday morning delivered to your inbox. It's called Veggie Bites from Kids Eat Vegetables. So have a good day. Bye.